What's going on, everybody? How you doing? This is your boy Juro. It is Tuesday, the 17th of December, 2013. How is everyone doing? I know I just put out a bunch of information this last week. Thank you for those who are finding those informative in your life. I just came in for a little bit. I'm getting ready to start my day. Had some errands I had to take care of. But while I was out, I'm a firm believer of synchronicity. And for those who are aware of that, they see how divine that really is and how that applies to your journey, your walk. And I had an interaction with someone inadvertently to a task that I had to take care of this morning. And, it started yesterday and it concluded today. And as I was making my way back, I would take care of Tyson, make sure he's good to go. You might hear some crunching in the background because he's chewing on his Nylabone. It's like kryptonite to a child, so. But as I was making my way back, I started to understand what I had just experienced. And what I mean by that is your higher power, as I know him as my Lord Jesus Christ, the more and more that you trust Him with your steps, with your life. Now you've got to understand something. You've got to put Him first. You cannot straddle the fence or do things on your terms, because when you try to do things on your terms, you will never yield the results that you desire. It actually will backfire because you are actually going against the protocol. And what I mean by that is there are certain directives that are found in the Bible, and the Bible is really your manuscript on how to live your life. And as I'm leaving from where I just had this interaction, my spirit was touched, and it's saying, what you just witnessed is an example of a season. Now, as you already know, we've heard the proverbs of life goes through seasons. People will come into your life, and through those experiences, may it be harmonious or even intense, there should be an underlining of a lesson. Because I know that you know your worth. You're coming to see the clarity of how priceless your life is, and you should start to identify the commonality of what and why you experience what you experience. So, as I'm making my way back, my spirit just, I felt it, and it was like this information came to me and said, Juro, you just experienced an example of a spiritual season. And what I'm getting at is this: every experience that you go through, may it be good, bad, or indifference, if there's no lesson in it, you have to question what the commitment is, what the tie is, what is it that brought you there, and more or less, what was the reason for you being there? Why? What's the end result? What is it? What was the motivation, or ultimately, what was it that you were at that moment to receive? The knowledge, insight. So as I'm driving, I'm having clarity on what I've experienced, and I'm not gonna go into detail what it was right now, because I'm gonna put a video on it and I'm gonna break it down. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, thank you, Jesus, thank you, because it touched me in such a way. It just validates that where I'm going in my walk, everything I'm doing is being validated tenfold. Now, as you also know, everything that you do should yield some type of emotional connection to it. Maybe highs and lows. There should be some type of validation. Okay? Alright? Now I'm going to go into why I'm saying all this. What I felt in my spirit was this. Because we are spiritual beings first, the seasons that you go through are actually, as I mentioned before, the things that are to make your heart bigger, to authenticate and break off the rough edges that you may have. I mean, come on now, we're humans. I know that there are some of you that have taken a position in your life that, well, you have a courage about yourself, but you're using that as a shield to really protect you from being exposed. It's like, for example, you know what a secret is? A secret. We all got them. But you know why a secret is a secret? Because a secret really is spoken truth that is being enslaved by fear or unspoken truth. And depending on what that is, how that was received, can actually determine how enslaved you are. Do you feel what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying, right? Okay. Some people, you've seen this, are so fragile that they will take on a persona as a way to shield them from their own emotions. They don't want to look at it because if they look at it or remotely go near it, it will take them to a place of not only indecisiveness, but it will also place them in a place of vulnerability, and they don't want to do that because initially they went through a season of tremendous pain. So they use your ego and your pride to say, well, you know what? I'm not going nowhere near that. I'm not going to touch it with a 10-foot pole. And this is what I'm going to do for my protection. But little do you know, you are truly denying yourself from what is intended for your life because you're not putting God first. So here's the reason why I'm saying this. As you go through your life lessons and you start to go within yourself, you're putting them boundaries down. You're putting them down, and you will start to see a pattern of people that are connected to those boundaries, and they will act a certain way. That will be the common denominator between that interaction between that person. May it be physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, or socially. You can actually compartmentalize your emotions through these events. However, what I've come to learn was this. The conflict is not the interaction of the person per se as an overall. It is the season that they're in. So you got to question yourself in this regard. What season are you in? And I've broke it down. I've interpreted it to there's three. Now this is what's been revealed to me. But I discern all the time, and I'm always in prayer. So it's like, all right. I'm like, you gonna let me know what I need to know when I need to know, because God will always position you to receive the knowledge you need at that intended moment, even if it may spark pain, because it's true. It's truth. intended to better your life. That's why we go through setbacks. That's why we go through issues of, what are you doing? Come on, out the way. Come on, man. Come on, beat it. See, he's a little ham. And not to lose train of thought, because if you look at your life, you can actually determine what season you are. But what's dictated is where you are spiritually. You may be in a season where, let me break it down. You have the one that is cultivating. They're in the process. You may have one that is foraging or feeding. So you're receiving. You're going through, like, there's a thirst. You got to quench it. So you're going out and getting all this, whatever you need to bring balance in your life. So you're that go-getter. You're doing that. Then, like I said, you have to cultivate it. So you're at a process after you've received that interaction, and then you may have that person that may have already come to stabilize. They've stabilized. They're there. So they've already gotten what they needed. They're processing where they're at, reflecting, and now they're in the position to build that foundation. Right? You follow me now? Sorry if I confused you. But the biggest conflict that you find, especially with dealing with other human beings, is we don't walk around with a sign saying, "Hey, this is where I am in my life." You have to go through the interaction to determine that. And if you don't discern, that may either knock you on your butt or uplift you. That's why like-minded attracts like-minded. And here's the reason why I'm saying. Some of you may have seen this in your own walk. Let's say, for example, you're at the, okay, we'll use the analogy of, we'll take the guy. We'll take a guy in his 20s, right? We'll just use it. It really doesn't matter with the age, but because it depends on the maturity of the individual. But we'll say a guy in his 20s, right? So he's in his 20s. His mindset is really on the physical. He's out there, going out there, and he's foraging. He's trying to get whatever he needs. May it be food, financial, sex, whatever it may. He's looking for the source. Now, if you don't have your boundaries correct, what's going to happen is you're going to attract somebody either right where you are, or you may find someone that may have those same traits but at a different level in life. So, for example, you got that guy, he's out there, he's foraging, he's trying to find that source, because you're trying to feed who you are inside. You're trying to plenish that. But you may find yourself attracted to someone that has already been there, and now they're in foundation mode. However, there's a problem in that. The problem in that is that it's not like-minded. That's why the one that's in the feeding mode, or trying to receive that information, or whatever that source is, can't stick with the person who's in foundation mode, because the person in the foundation, in that process, can't relate. They're the ones that have the wisdom. But a lot of times, what will happen is, there may be something in their heart, and that will be the attraction between the two. And what happens is, now, even though this person has the foundation there, they have the foundation, there's still something nostalgic, or there's traits about that person that's looking for that source that reminds them a lot of themselves. So they get along. They click. But the problem is, this person is grounded now. They understand what is needed from what is a want, because they've taken time and gone through that stage of reflection. So the person that is still looking for the source of whatever that need or desire was. And usually 9 times out of 10, it's wants. They can't relate to the person that's already grounded. There's traits about them that now the person that's trying to get the source can see themselves a lot of times as, you know what, we're compatible. You bring things to the table that I need. I'm looking for that source. But what's happening is the person that is grounded is not going to take a step back. You understand what I'm saying? Are you there? So that is why the process, when you're in that transitional point, you're processing, you're reflecting, you understand where you've been. You start to see your worth and value. Now, unfortunately, a lot of times, it's usually you realize this realization through pain. We've all been there. We all been there. But usually, it's because you're still seeking. You're still trying to find what that is that will make you complete. And here's the beautiful thing about that. Everything that you need is right here. It's right there. That's why I say this emphatically, my queens. You're not supposed to go look for a man. You're not. You're not supposed to do that, because you're the one that makes yourself emotionally safe. You set the template of what you attract. And unfortunately, there are for every action there's a reaction. And a lot of times women have it hard emotionally because we all know, most men know, that you're mental, they're physical. And depending on when that light goes off in your head, and usually it's because something has been revealed that is not nice. You look at where you've been, you look at what was given, and usually 9 times out of 10 it's because you've been compromised. And the thing that pisses you off the most is you compromised yourself because you had an ideology or perception that you thought that I can get them through deceptive means. And I don't mean by just being evil. What I'm saying is you have some women that think that, well, you know what I have between my legs will make a blind man see and a dumb man talk. But little do you know, your greatest gift is your heart. But if you don't see your worth, if you don't love yourself, what's going to happen is you're going to be on that treadmill of people that are just like you. And these people don't know who they are. And what happens 9 times out of 10, you put yourself physically at risk. And depending on who you run into, they may have already said, hey, I don't care about my worth. So if I don't care about myself, why should I care about you? Don't let a stolen moment inherit a lifetime of pain. So let's go back to those three seasons. See, that is why you see the effect with a lot of, here's a prime example. Sugar daddies. You following me? Sugar daddies use that tool all the time because they use their assets as a means to entice. But guess what? If they had their self together, why is it that they could not attract someone on their level? So that's got to be an indicator to you that they ain't got it together either. They just so happen to navigate it to a point that they can use They have to go beyond the call of duty, which 9 times out of 10, those people have control issues because they don't see their worth. So, of course, they're going to treat you like buying car tires. You're good as long as you run. So, you can't do yourself a disservice, my queens. My kings, when are you going to speak your name and be the man you're destined? Come on now. You wasn't brought on this planet to suffer. Why do you think, by chance, you keep attracting the same type of women? Because those are the fears and desires found in your heart. And you constantly go through the gauntlet. And you say it to yourself all the time, I'm not going to do this no more. I'm smarter than that. But what do? Not only you go through it, you go through it worse. You constantly get played. See, you got to understand something. No one can play you unless you allow yourself to play the game. And those who play the game end up being captured by the game. So stop playing yourself. Because you set the template. And I'm going to go there. If you have a relationship that was fostered by intimacy, then guess what? That's all you're going to be. And when you stop, they're going to roll. Because they know that's what you use to entice them. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. I know about 85% of my queens want their name changed. But you can't get your name changed until you change your heart. Some of you got a girlfriend that is so lost and so broken. She's given up on herself. She's a wealth of knowledge because of experience. She's very intelligent, but still, she's broken because she don't see her worth. And you got to wonder sometimes, how can someone be so smart but so off track? Why? Because it's from the heart. If your heart ain't right, your feet ain't going to be right. That's why no one can do anything to you unless you allow it. You know, that's why I say energy out is energy in. So if you're not speaking your truth from a place of honesty, your environment is going to reflect everything right as it came from. So if your position is a position of deception, well, guess what? You're going to get deceived. You're going to get deceived each and every time until you change what you find in your heart. And that's a sad thing, because your higher power loves you so much. You're not nobody's pincushion. You're not somebody's secret lover. You're not someone's Miss Jump Off. You're not. You're supposed to be somebody's wife. So why won't you love yourself? So, to get back to what I'm saying, you got to look at where you are and decide what season are you in. When you decide to put your worth and value first from a place of love, not a place of selfishness, because you got to understand something. As long as you take a position to not love yourself, you will never have what you need. It'll be reflected in your actions. That's why, women, you always say, don't go by what a man says, go by his actions, his steps. Because his steps will send a message so crystal clear. You know, some of you are so broken to the point that you convince yourself that that's all you're good for. You're just good for to be in a side chick. You condition your mind that all you're good for is a quickie. Well, he's nice. I'll get, he does things for me. No, he's paying for your services. That's what we call a trick pony. Well, why accept being a trick pony when you should be the show. I'm just saying. I'm saying, my queens, because you know what happens, right? Those are the same women that don't get it together. Your fate is to be by yourself. And what's happening is because you use your intimacy as a weapon, God is going to take that away from you. And you're going to suffer, because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. One day, Mr. Right is going to come. And you're not going to be able to relate to him. Because he's going to want to physically love you. And you can't, because you've worn it out. And you're going to be suffering and pain for nothing. So love yourself. And that goes for you guys. Don't you realize every time you take your squirt gun and squirt it up, all that energy, you're not supposed to do that. I think my married folk know that. That's why you go through certain seasons. And depending on where you are, is what you're going to receive. So set the template. Love yourself. Just trust your God. Trust God. I'm telling you. And sometimes, depending on where you are, your higher power will just sit you down. He does it. You won't be able to date anybody. Why? Not that he's punishing you. He is trying to heal your mind and body. He's preparing you. But that old devil, he gonna keep bringing you Mr. Goodwrench that lies to you, that disrespects you, and treats you like the bottom of your shoe. You don't deserve that. I know some of you right now are saying, Santa, I don't want anything but someone to love me. Well, guess what? I said this over a year ago. You want to be loved? Start loving on you. Start loving on you. Some of you don't even know the gifts and talents that you possess because you're too busy focused on the physical and give it away for free. You don't even know it. That's why you got that feeling in the back of your mind of what if. Just know this. When you make the investment in Him, He gonna position you. He gonna position you. And if you do the work, everything that you desired purely will feel heaven sent here. So stop doing yourself an injustice. That's why some of y'all walk around lonely, broken-hearted, because you got such a guilt and you thinking that this is all I'm going to be. No. You got a whole lot of life to live, but you got to trust Him. Okay? So, what season are you in? And when you realize that, you'll also understand why your life is being revealed as it is. Claim your walk, place your boundaries, and put God first in everything you do. He's praying for you. You know I am. I'm getting ready to go to work. Gotta make my paper. Say bless y'all. Bye.